Welcome to the third and last video of the Creativity Catalyst video training, What is Creativity? Today, I want to talk about creativity being connecting dots. Now, I'm super excited about this concept because that's pretty much the heart of what Creativity Catalyst Club is going to be about, where I provide the prompts, I provide the structure, but I also provide the space for you to not only collect these dots, but also connect them in a way that is new, different, and really re-sparks your creativity. Now, when I talk about dots, I'm talking about ideas and inspiration because connecting the dots as creativity is something that you recognize when someone connects two kind of random and unrelated dots together. But when they bring them together and you've seen it, it's like so obvious that they should have always been that way, and yet so different because we've never thought of it that way. Think peanut butter and chocolate. Think the toaster, which is really just a heater with springs. It not only solves the problem, which if you've seen the second video about how creativity is solving a problem, about be able to get nicely toasted bread, but at the same time, really, it is just connecting two dots together and made this invention that we kind of now use every day. That's creativity. Or like something like your smartphone, your iPhone. It is a camera, it is a phone, it's a computer all at once. And that is creativity, connecting those dots. And for your creative practice, you probably see that. It's not just self expression, you're not just making something beautiful from the chaos, but you're also connecting two maybe unrelated or maybe slightly related ideas together and creating something new from that. Or creating something that expresses and says what it is that you couldn't say in a different language than just words. So the reason I'm really excited about this concept is because this is something that requires discipline and habit, which is what we're going to be establishing in the Creativity Catalyst Club, about how to collect them, how to connect them. But really, the discipline and the habit of it, to be able to do it, is that you need to be actually collecting these dots. You need to be open and curious and to actually record it down and not just, letting them pass in your mind and be like, oh, that's nice. And then it will disappear if you don't record them. But at the same time, by being aware and collecting them and curating them and collecting them, you also become aware of more and more. And then you see different ways. And the more dots you have, there's the more combinations that you can do. And then that's when your creativity kind of feeds and supports itself. At the same time, if we look at it as planting seeds, sometimes you're just collecting ideas or inspiration or something that just strikes you and you're not even sure that you like it and you don't know why you like it and you don't even know what you're going to use it for. But I say develop that habit, develop that discipline to record it and to collect them, because then you're planting seeds in your little idea garden. And just like in a garden, you need to cultivate those seeds. You need to cultivate those dots, because some of them may sit there for a long time in the dark and they might need that time, to kind of grow and whatever it is that it needs. And then when its time is right, it will really blossom. But others, if it sits there in the dark for too long, the energy and the magic and the original intention of what it was, it will disappear if you don't revisit them and till the soil, stir the pot, whatever the phrase is. You need to cultivate those dots. You need to look after it. You need to nurture these ideas, because if you don't use them or go through them when you're stuck, why did you collect them in the first place? But at the same time, that's what they were there for, when you're feeling stuck, when you're looking for a refresh way, of just using your creative practice, because you actually don't have to go through them. Sometimes I just collect things and then I forget about them, or I write down these ideas that come to me, but then I don't use them ever again. But just the act of writing it down also clears your mind of all the mess and the chaos that we've talked about before. And then you have space. You create the room for the muse to give you more ideas, to give you the idea that you need to move your creative project forward, you know? And at the same time, when we're talking about connecting the dots, I'm also super excited about this concept because my art, personally, is also about connection, a connection to yourself, to be aware of yourself and your creativity and your version of self-expression, but also your connection to others and your environment and the world around you. And also, at the same time, your connection to the divine, to God, to spirit, whatever your flavor of spirituality is. Those connections, that all feeds your creativity. That all affects your creative practice and the way that you express it, and the way that you do your creative projects, you know. But you can't do any of this if you're not collecting those dots. Do you see how important it is to have that discipline and that habit, to have it, to then you can really nurture and cultivate your creative practice. And so, especially for us creatives who do it professionally, and you kind of have to almost do it on the spot. So you know, you're not always out there collecting, you're always on the spot using it all the time. This discipline also actually helps you be more creative. Because I know sometimes life is so busy and you deadlines and, you know, you got a business to run and all that kind of stuff. It's easier to just be creating because that's what you do. That's how you be creative, right? You do the work that you need to do. But at the same time, part of your work also needs to be investing that time in collecting, in curating, in cultivating all those ideas in your idea garden, in your creative library, in your mind, in your hearts. Because otherwise, this is where burnout happens. This is where resistance and stuck happens. This is where you end up, you know, resenting your creative work and your creative projects, and because it becomes really hard, because you're always drawing out from your idea garden, but you're not putting the seeds back in. And if you're not noticing that connection to yourself, to the others, to just new ways of connecting ideas and dots, that's when you also end up repeating the same ideas over and over, and which then leads to burnout and resentment and all of that kind of stuff. And you know, you feel like, this is when you feel like, maybe I'm not creative. I'm doing the same thing over and over. It manifests in self-sabotage. It manifests itself in doubts and fears and questioning whether or not what you're doing is correct, and trying to find your magic bullet from somebody else, from someone who's making a course like I am doing right now. Knowing your connection, especially to yourself, to others, and to your inner spirit, to God, to the muse. This is what creativity is. This is how you can tap into it and connect to it, and it becomes like a relationship. You know, you need to nurture it, you need to be aware of it, you need to acknowledge it, you need to embrace it. And so 3 quick activities, or exercises, I guess, or prompts, that you can do today that will get you into that mindset of connecting the dots, of seeing how you can develop a habit and discipline around doing that, and also just a new way of looking at things, because that's what Creativity Catalyst is going to be about, giving you a simple structure, but also ideas and inspirations of how you can be collecting it, developing that habit of connecting dots, of collecting those ideas, but also giving you a structure to find your way of collecting it and cultivating it and using your creativity in that way. But at the same time, also giving you that space. I want you to have that space to really self-reflect and to notice and to know that connection that you have to yourself and to your creativity in a deeper way, and to develop and nurture that relationship as well. So first activity is the post-it note activity. I love post-it notes because they're simple and easy to use. And so use the little ones, take a whole bunch of them, maybe 10 at least, or 9, 10, and put a single dot on the note itself randomly on each one, just one dot on each one. Try not to put it on the same place because then that will defeat the whole purpose, but just put them somewhere on each post-it note, and then each post-it note that you have with those dots, make a shape. Like stick it somewhere and make a shape, whether it's just like a simple shape like a square of 9 little post-it notes, 3 across, 3 down, and fill it up, or maybe you want to be adventurous and do like a circle or a heart, however many you have, however much time you have. So you have that shape that's made up of post-it notes, and all of them have a dot in it, and now you're literally going to connect the dots and make either a random shape or maybe an actual shape. Whatever it is, now you actually have a visual representation. And this is a quick creative exercise. It's simple, it's kind of ordinary and everyday with everyday items, but you can visually now see how, just like your life, you're picking up ordinary little squares of ideas, then you're putting them together, just like how creativity is creating something from the chaos. And for us, that might be just these random ideas. You put them together into a shape, and then now you're going to connect these dots around, and you're problem solving, and you're connecting the dots, and it's just a really cute and really quick exercise for you to kind of see your creativity in a visual way and to kind of play with everyday items at the same time. So that's one activity. Second activity is to think about something that you've been meaning to get back into, a creative project or whatever it is, a hobby, something. And during the day, every day, whatever your schedule is, notice 3 to 5 things that somehow around you in the world, it reminds you of that activity. Like almost like the universe, God is giving you a sign about this activity. So you're actively like looking for signs about how this activity is gonna show up in your life. Whether it's the texture, the actual words, the color, sounds, or the feeling. The idea here is to first of all connect to yourself and to know what it is that you're hoping to do and wanting to do and desiring to do and is calling out to you. And at the same time, noticing a connection between yourself and the world around you and to God or spirit, and connecting all of that together for this one purpose, this activity that you've been meaning to do. Whether or not you're going to do them or not, hopefully it will inspire you, seeing all these signs, to actually do it. But the idea of being aware and observing and looking out for it is a habit and a discipline for yourself to notice the things that resonates with you, the things that inspire you, and to connect them together, even if it's just in your mind. It's a great activity. Third activity, whatever your spirituality takes, whatever flavor that is, I want you to take a sacred pause, do deep breath, and to really feel into your body, and spend like a good minute doing that, making sure you can feel your body, being really present about where you're sitting and the environment and how it feels, the air on your skin and your feet planted on the ground. And then I want you to spend at least 10 minutes of focused time, ideally more than that, but as long as you have. But we want simple and quick here. To just free flow write in your journal. We like a lot of journaling in this. What message you would need to hear right now after saying this to yourself, okay? So deep breaths, you've got your journal ready, you're feeling into your body, doing a few deep breaths, 3 to 5, and then write at the top of your journal, or just say this to yourself: if I am guaranteed that I cannot fail, or what I create next will be amazing, what I will do next is free flow, write that for 2 to 3 pages at least, or at least 10 minutes of focused time. And the idea here is to, again, connect to yourself, and not just to your intuition and to your creativity, because I find we're always in our heads and our hearts and stuff, but we forget our bodies. Our bodies are such great ways to really speak to you and to really embody the feelings that you have. And also I find that it's a great way to be really present and focused. And all this journaling and free flow writing, I've always found you might not be a writer, but it's a great way for you to kind of communicate to yourself subconsciously or to your subconscious messages that you would want to tell yourself, and in a way that is positive. So by saying to yourself, if I'm guaranteed that I cannot fail, what I create next is going to be amazing, what I will do next is, and you write whatever it is that comes up. Even if for the first 2 minutes, first couple of pages is like you're writing, I don't know what to write, I feel silly, this is boring, I don't have time, all that kind of stuff. You get all that negativity out, and after a while you get into a flow, and then you'll be surprised at what comes up. And you might get new ideas, a different way of looking at things, and connecting dots in a different way that you might not have thought of, or been too scared of, or actually been fearing or doubting that you would have the ability to. But because you're thinking about this from a place of, if I'm guaranteed that I cannot fail, from that positive, playful, creative heart, you might get something beautiful and amazing and a new perspective from it as well. So I hope these 3 activities and this video has been really, really useful about how to really nurture and cultivate your creativity. And I really hope that all these 3 videos have been really, really useful for you, and to know that you are creative and that you have so much of it in you, and you have the simple everyday ability, even in ordinary ways, to connect with your creativity, to nurture it, to cultivate it, and to really have fun with it. And I really hope to see you inside the Creativity Catalyst course. And I really hope you have a great day. Go out, do those activities, and have fun.